Hey guys, welcome to the woods. Well, I got my backpack over here, eating my lunch there, and it seems like it's getting ready to rain. And I thought, I'd rather do a video now than in the rain, but I don't have my little seat set up. And anyway, so we're kicking it old school and I'm holding the camera up. But I also thought, I'd like to tour you around my little spot. But it's not so much like where this spot is, as much as a way to sort of talk about a whole situation. Situation might be a little harsh. An is? I don't know. But anyway, let's just roll and then you say what it is when we're done. We'll let it evolve. But all right, so you're seeing like that hump of dirt sticking up there? That's where a tree fell over and pulled its root ball up. And like over here, no, which way? There's another one. That one's a little bit older. But anyway, there's big tree stumps laying there. You can walk along them and they're fun for that kind of stuff. And down the path there, you can see there's also a log tree down crossing the path. So when you're walking down the path and you step over the log, then you just walk from end to end and work on your balance and stuff like that. But anyway, there's also just really such nice little spots, like, you know, between those groups of trees there, where it's like, why can't we as a society sort of, you know, this is ancient forest, so you don't want to disturb anything, but you can accentuate a little bit, and you can sort of set up some parameters, like here's how you walk through the trails, but you don't go everywhere and walk all over everything, and you'd never leave anything. You don't even bring trash in, right? Just kind of a whole different mentality. But the mentality that we really have is no one's out here ever. And there's bits of broken glass in the trail, so probably some people would be like, oh, the whole thing, you know, I don't want to be out in the woods, period, let alone, you know. People in the city don't get into the woods very often, so it's kind of, there's, you know, it's like if, you know, bugs, right? You can't bring your disinfectants all in here. You can't be spraying the place down with DDT, you know. So you got to mesh with the world around you. But, you know, and you discover stuff like, well, when I have sun on my skin, it doesn't get mosquito bites. You say, well, I don't want any sun aging of my skin. But it's like, well, when your skin gets a little tougher from the sun, then you don't get mosquito bites and the ticks don't bother you. They still get me sometimes for sure, but they get me where I don't have sun, you know. But anyway, it's like a mosquito bite. It's no big deal. You don't get Lyme's disease every time you get a tick bite. You know, mosquitoes kill people too. I mean, there's just, yeah, nature's got its challenges, but it's really more of a challenge for people who are physically and mentally not healthy. And that has not a lot to do with, although it will become, if you don't have a healthy mental, I don't know, your paradigm, your sense of self, you know, maybe I'd say like 10% of the population, if you really dug into it a little bit, the question of, are you leaning towards everything in the planet's getting better, or you think it's going the not better? And not many people lean to it's getting better. But it is getting better, so I don't have any question about it. But it's just amazing what large percent of the population would think that things are going worse. And I'm like, the only reason we're not living in utopia now is our fear of unworthiness. We're not deserving of it or something. Because the beauty is here. I don't know how people are still hiding from the beauty of what's going on in our planet. There's nothing to be afraid of, nothing to be worried about. The paradigm of everybody's got to go get a job and you know, all this structure that we carried from our past, we got to let that go, of course. But it's time. Everybody's sitting down. We're sort of throwing in our towel on the economic system, which just, you know, print more and more money, which I'm fine with. I think, you know, just shake it out, you know, like you would anything. It's just like, I can move on and keep going. We get old and think, oh, you know, just let's just fit in a box that doesn't irritate me too much, you know? And it's like, well, that little bit of irritation, that's how you feel your way through the productive side, the venturing side, the growing side, the opening up, tuning in, tapping in, turning on. Where you go with tuned in, tapped in, turned on is your choice. But it's going to be beautiful, but maybe it'll be out here in the woods. For some reason, all societies, from the Indians to every religion, said, you know, it's out here. If you can't vibrationally connect with this, then there you know your first challenge. So anyway, so I just feel like I don't need to do anything. I don't want to do anything. I don't want anybody else to get up and go do anything. But there's, you know, beautiful seating right there. And, you know, it's just when the sun comes through these trees too, there's like little dancing crystals all over the place, and it's just pristine. But you'd have to, you know, trust me, I've walked with people who feel uncomfortable. I know what it's like. People are just, people who don't, there's people who say, you know, I just don't go in the woods. I don't like the woods. I'm scared of the woods. That's why there's no trouble in the woods, because people are afraid criminals don't come in the woods. Nobody really has control of this space. It belongs to the state. But why don't, you know, there's rangers and stuff like that. Of course, someone's officially in charge, but let's put all our money and our emphasis that direction. Let's give them control of things. The policing could be very, very small if this was where our focus was. You know, you put a little spot out here, you put a little pin in the ground, and my phone tracks to it. Oh, that's the S34 pin drop. And I walk over there, and whatever I want while I'm out here in the woods, boop, drops right there by a little drone flying above. Everybody's just waiting to implement this plan. But it's, we as people don't feel worthy of it is the problem. We're so fear-focused. But the focus really is where our energy is. They're just feeding all the things you complain about, the media, the people, the personnel, the way the government's run, the fact that we maybe are good or not good to the environment, all those kinds of things, whatever your little niche is, you think it's somebody else's fault. But it's not anybody's fault. It's what is when the collective consciousness, the common denominator of the vibration of the person who lives on this planet at the time, doesn't appreciate and is just in the fear vibration. It's not anybody's fault. It's just now's the time. There's an invitation on the table here to say it's a very easy time to connect to your higher self, to that energy ball that you are, and you can. There's plenty of programs that will show you how to connect, you know, finding your inner child. There's a million ways going with it. Everybody's kind of got their own little flair on how you go within, love on yourself. That's the common denominator. And that's why I just use that word rather than say any how to do or what that even means. But you got to go explore what that means. Loving on yourself to build the worthiness of the vibrational ownership of such a life as you would dream. It's not rocket science. But you just got to feel where you feel funny. And I can talk to people and say, anyone can, and so you can talk to yourself through this way. But you start with a helicopter view, you know, you're an infinite, all-eternal being coming from the 24,000-year journey around the galaxy, and it's time to become more enlightened. I don't think I want to be as much on the side where it's devolving as man, energetically, emotionally, attachment, emotional awareness. That would be devolving at other parts in the galaxy, and we're in the evolving part. So it's like, you know, like we're coming up 12 o'clock is the peak of the evolution, or our connected to source, our ability to see the light that we really are and exist as that light, which has no limitations. When we get more into that realm of that part of the galaxy, it'll be different. But right here, right now, this is the game. Just love the ones you're with, you know? And the rest will take care of itself. So to make this all happen, it's just a matter of energetically walking out of the pattern, belief, whatever it is that's holding you. And feeling worthy. That's what it comes down to all the time. So, all right. Well, I think we'll keep that one short, but just to give you a little tour around, I guess. But anyway, beautiful trees. There's so many little pockets of areas that everybody's got headphones and stuff now, and Wi-Fi and all that kind of thing. So you could have 50 people out here spread through these woods and nothing would be different. No more sound than it is. I'd be the loudest thing. But, you know, we'd probably have to figure out places. It'd be like the library, because this is where all the great scientists said, not necessarily this location, but for most of them it was. They didn't make a point about the woods because everybody was in the woods. You lived in the woods. We grew up in the woods. We are woods people. So anyway, but out here in the woods is where they got their inspiration. Sleeping, meditating, laying around. That's where the connection is, not in the doing. We're too busy on the doing side. We've got everything we need. We're just flipping flavors and colors now for variety. That's no fun. Some real variety. Take on the vibrational challenge of letting go of whatever you're holding on to and sit in the woods. It ain't bad. I'll take it over anything else I've sampled. I've run businesses and I've always employed myself, so I've had that struggle in life of like there's not enough of things. I've been through bankruptcy. I know what the up and the down is like in that emotional roller coaster of the doing. Trust me, I work 80 hours a week and have done, started businesses from the ground up to, multi-million-dollar things. But the biggest challenge was getting on this spiritual journey, which I always knew I would do. But I come and sit in the woods and I'm like, where's everybody's imagination? Where nobody's really tuned in. I say that. But, small population of the planet's really kind of tuned into what's really going on in the energetic ball that they are and focusing on going that direction and trying to develop that part of themselves. I bump into most people, they want to block themselves from that part. It's like, you're going to find out I'm a bad person if we go deep, real, or big. Big is the scariest one for people. It's like, what? Can you go to the helicopter view of who you really are and how big this whole plan, the plan is not really the thing, but you carry a vibrational signature and you mix with family members, and it doesn't matter. You were a dad last time you played together, now you're a father, husband, wife, and it's just energy fields that we play with and run out these dramas, which is fun. But there's nothing really at stake. You're just an energy ball. And you come into particles and you go back out from particles. And you're still here, basically. And you come into particles and you go out of particles. And sometimes there's human particles that look like us, and sometimes the human particles that are living on this planet don't look like it all. In fact, a funny thing I heard from some channels not long ago, and I'm like, why wouldn't that be true? But anyway, they said there's other beings around the galaxy. We know that. But everybody's more friendly than we are. Trust me. But anyway, they have no thumbs. And they're more like, because I know Dr. John Dispenza, he sees like these cricket beings and stuff, and all these people doing this tuned in, tapped in, turned on with the helmets on and watching it on the computer and tuning themselves up really quickly and having these revolutionary healings and changes of their physiology and all that kind of stuff. And they can see when it's happening on the computer, and they say, oh, he's getting something. And he comes out and like, bang, I'm a new guy. I'm a different person. See you guys. I don't even need to finish this course. I'm done. Everything has just changed in me. I got a vibrational download. Now, this isn't the way it happened with me, but there's people doing that. I had to sort of trudge it out over the years of sort of just, I don't know. I had this in my crawl before I got here. I've known it since I was a kid. So but I went all in on like the doing and not being worthy. I was aware of those things, but I didn't call it not being worthy. I thought I wanted to be worthy of God's love by being more giving, more doing, and having less. And I'm like, I don't have much. I need less and less as I've gotten older. But there was definitely times of struggling, like, I want these things, and if everybody wanted these things, what would the planet be like? And I don't like the people who are all about the money and, you go around those dramas, but that's all just childhood drama. So I've been long past those stories, but I'm just kind of bringing that up for, that's the rub for most of us, I mean, it's still my rub indicator somewhere along the line. I feel a little bit unworthy of, owning these forests, I guess. I could just come along and say, no one's really managing this. I'm going to put a crew out here. I'm going to put a little docking station here for, any services you want, and I'll hire young people to walk through these trails, bring in, lattes and popcorn. But, no trash. No trash comes in. They're carrying stuff in. They'll carry stuff out. They got a backpack, a little wagon they pull along, whatever it is. Anyway, my arm's getting tired, so. And anyway, they got Frisbee golf here. Can you guys even see? I'm looking around. It's actually getting kind of dark. I think it's definitely hear some rain dripping in the leaves, too. So that's the end of our tour today, kids. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. But, so I'm more like, we are family. I got all my trees here with me. Look at these beauties. You can see up there, I know, because it's Anyway, sun comes through here, and it's like, I could go not far from here, and you could be in the grass area watching the sunset. I mean, there's capacity here to have something really beautiful. But you know, there's some broken glass in the ground. Not so much here. That's why this is my favorite spot. But other areas, a lot of little bits of glass. Really not dangerous. I walk my dog on glassy. It's like now I just appreciate it. It's like sparkles of our past, who we used to be. Now, thank God it's not plastic. I would hate to see plastic sticking out of the ground, much worse than glass. But anyway, that's just loving on your environment and rambling on and taking too long. But look, it's at 15 minutes and 37 seconds. That's what I kind of shoot for, right? And I wasn't looking at the clock this time. It sits on the top of the screen. It's a little annoying. But anyway, that time we just looked around. And anyway, you're back to the trail. All right, see you guys. Love you. Don't forget to throw love bombs. And, don't get up and do anything. Just dream of this stuff I'm hopefully inspiring you about. Just literally dream about it. Put a intention before you go to bed. You want to wake up with some new insights into who you are and how to connect into your love child inner being. All right, thanks guys. See ya.